Welcome. This presentation will walk you through the Leeds volunteering strategy. The strategy launches in October 2023 and will cover a period of 5 years. This strategy has been co-created with a wide range of partners, including colleagues within the Leeds Volunteer Managers Network, colleagues within Leeds City Council, and the wider third sector. As a group, we have chosen this as our vision. Leeds will be the best city for volunteering, a city that celebrates volunteering in all its forms, where it's easy for people to find ways to make a difference and get involved. All partners work together to support an innovative and diverse volunteering environment. The values that underpin this strategy include enabling people to grow, collaboration, being inclusive and accessible, being supportive, and finally, being innovative. This strategy sets out 5 key areas for development around volunteering infrastructure and support for volunteers over the coming 5 years. It's a challenging programme that will address barriers to volunteering and renew and enhance services in ways that enable innovative practice to emerge. The strategy seeks to set a course for developing both informal and formal volunteering. However, as informal volunteering is less structured and often happens below the radar, we recognise that there is further to travel in understanding our city's strengths and areas for growth in this area. In developing this strategy, Leeds Volunteer Managers Network has drawn on evidence about national and local trends and consulted widely with volunteers, volunteer managers and partners. The national picture of volunteering demonstrates that there has been a steady decline in people getting involved in formal volunteering. This began in 2013 with a more significant decline beginning in 2020, with volunteers reporting that work commitments create a significant barrier on their ability to engage in volunteering. The State of the Sector Report 22-23 shows that in Leeds we have a little under 40,000 volunteers, including trustees. This is a fall from a little over 50,000 in 2020. We are aware that we need to strengthen what we know about volunteering, and improving this data set features as a strong recommendation within this strategy. Volunteer managers and volunteers themselves told us that the COVID-19 pandemic and the cost of living crisis has had a significant impact on people's ability to volunteer. For volunteer managers, rising workplace pressures often hamper their ability to develop new programmes, and this can lead to a lack of stability in the services they offer to volunteers. Much of the feedback from professionals, which has been used to shape this report, shows an insight and understanding of the needs of volunteers, the barriers they encounter, and the resources and approaches that are required to create an equitable volunteering offer in Leeds. Without exception, contributors to this strategy aspire to broaden the diversity of people volunteering. They wish to see the distinctive contribution that volunteers make celebrated across the city and recognised as a central part of civil society. When we asked volunteers how they think our volunteering offer can be enhanced, they said we can improve communication with volunteers, the support we offer with our existing volunteers, offering more clarity on the detail of roles, and simplifying the application process. Volunteers also said that recruitment and practice from voluntary organisations should be standardised across the city, that we should look to promote the positive impacts that volunteers bring, promote the benefits of volunteering, such as training and new skills, that volunteering should never have a cost to the volunteer and expenses are essential, and that the recruitment process should be made easier. Further recommendations included increased flexibility, more recognition of volunteers, improved accessibility, better integration, a more inclusive approach, and that open days would be helpful to remove application barriers. Once we collected the feedback from many different stakeholders, we were able to shape these ambitions for change. Number 1, volunteers are at the centre of volunteering in Leeds. They shape and influence volunteering and are valued and recognised. Number 2, the Leeds volunteering offer is inclusive and creates equity. Our volunteer base is diverse and represents the communities we work with. Thirdly, there are a greater number of volunteers who lead on innovative social action for the benefit of communities in partnership with organisations. Lastly, that volunteering is well resourced and resources are shared, resulting in strong and effective volunteer management. Under each of the aspirations, there are a set of key principles and mechanisms through which we will achieve change. For Aspiration 1, the principles include that volunteers are valued and their contributions are recognised at a city level. We understand the needs and wishes of volunteers and develop attractive volunteering roles that meet these needs. The voices of volunteers are heard, valued and acted upon, enabling them to deliver meaningful social action. Volunteering plays a critical role in the development of skills required in the workplace, and that there are progression opportunities for volunteers who want them. Volunteers lead on social action where they wish to, and there is a volunteer movement where volunteers collaborate to drive change. Mechanisms through which we'll achieve this change can include undertaking research to understand the aspirations of volunteers so that organisations know how to develop their volunteering offer, developing a network of volunteers who come together to shape volunteering, developing approaches that demonstrate volunteers are valued, for example, certificates, PIN badges, ID cards, increased resourcing for community-led social action projects, resourcing citywide volunteers' skills records, for example, a digital badges programme, working with employers to increase recognition of the skills developed in volunteering, and celebrating and showcasing the difference that both formal and informal volunteering makes. The measurement of success being that volunteers report feeling happy and valued in their roles. The principles that underpin Aspiration 2 include there is a diverse volunteer base which brings a wide range of new skills, insights and lived experience to services. Services actively reach and meet people where they are in their communities, reaching the whole person and engaging people who feel excluded from volunteering. Inclusive practice in volunteering is resourced to shape and adapt the volunteering offer to meet individual needs. The recruitment processes are accessible and simplified, and engaging in volunteering is easy. There are attractive volunteering roles that are engaging and appealing to people from diverse communities. The mechanisms for change could include developing a supported volunteering service that provides a level of support required to reduce and overcome barriers to volunteering, therefore creating a more diverse volunteer base in Leeds. Developing toolkits that outline approaches to engaging with people with a wide range of protected characteristics to provide the guidance that's needed to create inclusive volunteering. Undertaking research to understand the needs of volunteers from diverse communities, including those engaged in informal volunteering. Establishing reliable data on volunteer demographics. Developing a task and finish group that identifies approaches to diversifying volunteering and highlights good practice or changes in practice. The measurement of success being that diversity of volunteers in Leeds is increased. The principles that underpin Aspiration 3 include volunteer mobility between organisations is embedded into organisational practice. Businesses in Leeds actively give their time and contribute in ways that meet the needs of communities. Innovation in volunteering is welcomed, and we are open to learning new approaches. Volunteering activity is based on evidence and progress is measured. The mechanisms include enabling mobility through the development of a volunteer passport, establishing frictionless access to volunteering where appropriate bureaucracy is minimised, for example, fewer references or applications being completed at interview. Increasing the engagement from the business community, resourcing mechanisms for brokerage between businesses and the third sector. Work with stakeholders to widen and standardise training for volunteers. And sharing practice that enables volunteers to engage flexibly and informally in volunteering. The measurement of success being that an increased number of people volunteer in Leeds. The principles that underpin Aspiration 4 include that there is long-term funding and resourcing required to account for staff time to create and support a strong volunteering base. That collaboration and resource sharing is the foundation for good practice in volunteering. that there is a continued strong volunteering infrastructure that enables us to grow our volunteer base. Mechanisms can include exploring opportunities to develop localised peer networks, developing effective use and sharing of existing resources and best practice, increasing training on the resources that are available to support the recruitment and management of volunteering, adapting these resources to meet the changing needs of organisations, improving communication and knowledge transfer between members, reviewing and developing the functionality of the city's online volunteer brokerage platform, and working with city partners to raise awareness of the resources required to sustain effective volunteer management. The measurement of success being that volunteering in Leeds is better resourced and volunteer managers have increased capacity. I would like to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to everybody who has contributed to the development of this strategy. In particular, the volunteers of Leeds, who have given their time completing surveys and offering feedback, the Volunteer Managers Network, colleagues within Leeds City Council, the Leeds Community Anchor Network, Carers Leeds, University of Leeds, the Community Champions Steering Group, Third Sector Partnership, Forum Central, the Harnessing the Power of Communities Network, Health and Care Leaders Network, One Workforce, Age Friendly Leeds, Leeds Beckett University, and the Leeds Migration Partnership. This is the beginning of the journey for this strategy. From the launch, we will see the collaboration of key stakeholders coming together to develop an action plan that addresses each of the key themes. The Volunteer Managers Network will be regularly updated on progress against the milestones, and we will monitor its success. Links with key anchor organisations will enable the strategy to be incorporated across sectors and will support its progression and achievements. Following a 3-year period, the network will review and refresh the strategy to ensure that it is reflective of changing environments and new data and insights. We would like you to get involved. Have a look at the aspirations and choose an area that you have a particular passion or insight for. And take the time today to pledge your involvement and let us know which area you'd like to support moving forward.